Welcome to the Ghost Stories YouTube channel. Here, we will bring you the scariest experiences through ghost stories, mysteries, and inexplicable mysteries of the mysterious world. Whether you are someone who enjoys learning about ghost stories or simply looking for a new entertainment experience, our channel will be the ideal destination. Join us in the horror space and get ready for the most tense and scary moments. Don't forget to press the subscribe button and notification bell so you don't miss any new videos. Thank you for joining the Ghost Stories YouTube channel, and now, get ready for some spooky moments with us.
7 Freaky Nights. Chapter 4, Fourth Night, The Hill Behind the Wall. In this building that is about to be relocated, there are still 4 people: Thatch Enum, Hot Udin, Triuduktin, Truonkia. Both Thwangia Bang and Tom Tien were not there because they heard they were on a business trip. Because the house became increasingly quiet, with only 4 people left, we couldn't help but feel a little scared. Talking in the hallway had sounds echoing as if there were many people talking at the same time. It's really so empty. Living in this house even if nothing happens makes people feel suspicious. The remaining 4 people also started looking for a house so they could quickly move out of this place. Just because they wanted to kill this boring time, the remaining 4 people continued to gather to tell strange stories. This week, Triuduktin told everyone what happened in his second year of college, when welcoming a new year without snow. That time left unforgettable memories in Triuduktin. Because I was so tired and frustrated with the noise and rules of dorm life, my 2 female roommates and I decided to find a quieter house outside. This is not only convenient for studying, but also mainly for having a more free and comfortable life. A week later, we read house rental information in the middle corner of the afternoon newspaper. The location is right below the mountains behind our school. As soon as I saw it right next to the mountains, I felt very happy. Because I've been there several times, the scenery there is picturesque, it's not too exaggerated at all. That mountain is very small, because it is so small that people call it Ancient Hill. Although the mountain is not large, stretching across the top is a long bamboo forest, the bustling sounds of birds and the small river meandering and flowing throughout the mountain, making people feel the picturesque beauty of this place. The second day after hearing about the house for rent, which happened to be on a Saturday, I was afraid that the house would be quickly rented by someone else, so I had to get up early in the morning. Seeing 2 lazy worms, one lying face down, the other sleeping soundly and some even drooling, I thought, it would be a waste of effort to wake them all up. It would be better to give them a little thrill. Going to the sink, I took 2 towels and soaked them in water, wringing them out while they were still warm. Then apply it to the faces of 2 roommates. The 2 of them were sleeping very soundly. If they were startled now, they would wake up immediately. Suddenly waking up made them feel frustrated and uncomfortable. At that time, I had to laugh and apologize, explaining why I had to do that. Finally made these 2 people calm down their anger. From the school's back gate, in less than half an hour, we reached the foot of the mountain. At 7 a.m., the early morning fog had not yet dissipated. From far away, layers of fog could be seen covering the entire bamboo forest. The morning air was cool and pleasant. We walked along the small road around the mountain. At the northern foot of the mountain we saw a small house with smoke from the kitchen rising. 2 small houses located right next to the dense bamboo forest gave me the feeling of returning to the natural scenery of the village. A rural picture appeared before my eyes. But for my 2 roommates, Lutin and Triule, didn't feel that way. They were just busy talking about, it seems like this house doesn't feel very safe, right? There's not even a garden. If it was what these 2 people said, then this house would not be habitable no matter what it said. In the middle of speaking, suddenly out of the house came a large, muscular man, wearing only short shorts, and a long black scarf to cover his big, fat belly. In his greasy hand, he still held a sharp, shiny knife. On the surface of the knife, it seemed like there was still something like red slime dripping down to the ground. When I saw the man with that appearance, I really felt startled, but I wasn't the only one who felt that way. My two female roommates were also so scared that their faces turned white without a drop of blood. Oh! Surely the blood in their bodies was pushed to their entire legs to always be in a position to escape. The man who came out of the house when he met us was also stunned for a moment. But when he saw our appearance like that, he immediately apologized. He immediately bent down, put the knife in his hand and placed it in the right corner of the door, then smiled awkwardly and said, "Don't be afraid, ladies. This early in the morning, who are you looking for here?" When I calmed down, I could clearly see the face of the man standing in front of me. He's only about 30, has big eyes, thick eyebrows, and a kind appearance. Looking at him like that, he doesn't look like a bad guy. "What are you doing with the knife?" I was about to answer his question when Lutin immediately interrupted me and asked the issue she was most concerned about right now. "Haha, I'm a pig slaughterer, just got one, was about to go to the river to wash my hands, just when everyone came and saw like via 65. It's so embarrassing, it doesn't scare you, right?" I didn't expect it to be so quiet outside, but the conversation was very polite and gentle. "We are students at the school located behind this mountain. I heard that there are people renting houses here. Do you want to rent out these 2 houses of yours?" "Oh, so it's like that," I thought. "What are you guys doing here so early in the morning?" His hand pointed to the north. "Look ahead, there is a bamboo forest, behind it there is a 2-story house, the house of Aunt Doan, who wants to rent it out. A few days ago, she reminded me to go find it, the person who rents the house. I'm sure there is a house right now, you guys should go ask." After thanking the man, we followed the small road through the bamboo forest, and sure enough, in front of us appeared a 2-story house. Looking at it, it looks like it's new. The design of the house is also very unique. On the small river in front of the door there is a bridge made of stone. The 3 of us looked at each other and laughed that the house in front of us was really much better than the 2 houses the pig slaughterer lived in. When we heard a knock on the door, it was Aunt Doan who opened the door for us. Because we knew her last name in advance, as soon as we opened the door we called her name incessantly. Aunt Doan is a gentle, simple, and very friendly person. After asking clearly what we meant by coming here, her face showed concern, but immediately after that she became happier and invited us in. In the home. Although the lines in the house are designed to be a bit rough, we feel very comfortable because the house is bright, tidy, and everything looks very neat. Aunt Doan took us on a tour of the whole house. The lower floor includes living room, kitchen, bathroom, and storage. The second floor has 3 rooms. This room is also very bright and spacious. In addition, on the second floor there is also a playground. I was supposed to rent this house to male students, but when I saw that they were both small and polite, renting it to male students, I was afraid they would misbehave with the public security guards. So I'd rather rent it to you guys. Triule asked, "So which room do you plan to rent to us?" "This whole house. We're still just students, Aunt Doan, we're afraid we won't be able to rent this whole house. The 3 of us can just rent a bedroom." I followed Aunt Doan's words. "Yes. Yes." The 2 of them followed suit. "But I don't want too many people living here. I'm very happy to let you all live here. As for the rent, It's up to you, how much you want to give. Because I also intend to find someone to help me take care of it. This house, let there be a little bit of people in it, not empty. She also doesn't want the house to become a wasteful house. So you're not here?" Lutin asked very curiously. Suddenly, Aunt Dawn's face gradually darkened, and it took a long time for her to continue. "Your husband passed away a few years ago. This house was just built last year, and was intended to be left for your youngest son to get married. But unfortunately half a year ago, your son and his fiancée were on their way to get a marriage certificate. They had a car accident and hit a truck in front of them, so your son and his fiancée died. Already." At this point, Aunt Dawn sobbed and couldn't say a word. An old mother losing her young child is the greatest misfortune in life. Several of us were silent, not speaking up because we didn't know how best to advise and comfort her. "Are you alone now?" I quietly asked my aunt. "She has an older son who is working in the city, and half a year ago he wanted to take her there to live with him. But she couldn't bear to leaving the place where she had lived most of her life, so she still lived alone here. A few days ago her eldest son insisted that she go up there to live with them. She couldn't refuse forever, so she agreed to go to the city. Her things had already been moved there, just waiting to find a tenant to move out." The three of us looked at each other again, feeling really excited, because the second floor just happened to have 3 bedrooms, one for each child. Also think about not spending a lot of money but being able to live right in the villa. What could be better? Right after that, we immediately signed a contract with Aunt Dawn, because after all, it wasn't very far from the school and there weren't many things we needed to bring. That afternoon, the 3 of us finished packing our things and moved here. Aunt Dawn's eldest son also drove down that afternoon to pick her up to go to the city. Before leaving, Aunt Dawn told us, "The neighbor across from our house is named Truong Chi, and his wife works as a surgeon. Pigs sell pigs. He is a very honest, simple person, and a very enthusiastic person. If you have any problem, you can just come to him for help." After Aunt Dawn gave us the key, she gave us instructions again. After seeing her off to the car, she didn't feel secure, so she called us to cross the bridge, get out of the car, and told us to be careful and remind us of many other things. "Kids, remember to go to bed early, and remember to close the doors tightly before going to bed." Remember, we all knew it, but she made us repeat what she told us again. This time we really got a taste of what is called a doting old person. Even so, we still had to repeat everything she said again before she could safely get in the car to go. After Aunt Dawn left, we rearranged the entire house. Aunt Dawn is a really good person. The household appliances are almost complete. There is no need for us to buy anything else. The 3 of us went back to school to collect some of the miscellaneous items left in the dormitory, and went back to have dinner in the cafeteria for convenience. Many of our classmates knew that we were able to rent such a good house. They all admired it and told us how lucky we were. We also decided from now on not to eat dinner at the restaurant anymore but to cook at home. After packing up our things at the dorm, it was already 8 o'clock. Time passed so quickly today. We worked hard all day, so we just wanted to be able to wake up late. Not far from the school's back gate, it was dark and there were no street lights, but luckily the moon was bright and there were many stars, so we could see the road ahead clearly. Triule seemed to understand something and called out, "Tomorrow we have to buy some flashlights because the road here is too dark and there are no street lights." As soon as he finished speaking, the surrounding grass suddenly appeared, white spots of light flying up, lighting up the green color of the grass. Sometimes invisible, sometimes visible, flying around us. I laughed and said, look, you just criticized the road last night and there was light right away. Since I was a child, I lived in the south. When I grew up, I went to the north to study at university. This was also the first time I saw fireflies. I really like these fireflies. I often sit and watch them in amazement all day long. Bored. We also saw a blur of grassy hills in front of us. The night of the grass hill makes people feel mysterious because the night scene is covered with the flickering spots of light, sometimes hidden and sometimes appearing, of fireflies. Rounding the end of this hill, we saw a little light shining from the two small houses of Truong Chi and his wife. In front of the house, Truong Chi and his wife were busy packing things. The couple is really diligent and hard-working, working from early morning until now. Waiting until we got closer, Truong Chi also saw us and immediately smiled and greeted, "Have you moved here today?" "Yes, we have moved in." "Mr. Truong, from now on we are neighbors, you are not allowed to suddenly appear with a knife." It seems that Lutin has a very deep impression of Mr. Truong's knife. Mr. Truong Kai's wife heard the brothers' conversation and also joined in the fun. Ha, ha. Dai Chi is such a rude and forgetful person, don't pay attention, next time you want to eat meat, just come here, feel free to grab it, fresh meat guaranteed. Yes. Yes. If you have time, come over here and sit and play. Truong Chi also said the same. It also suits us because we also plan to cook at home, so having this enthusiastic butcher neighbor is also very convenient. We hastily thanked him. "Yes, thank you. From now on, I'll bother you a lot. You too, stop working. We have to go home." After saying goodbye to those two people, we quickly returned to the front door. Don't know what to do, but the closer we get to home, the more tired we feel. We don't even have the strength to hold the key to open the door. It seems like tomorrow we will definitely have to buy a flashlight because the light is not enough. To see something, open the door. At the same time we were looking for the key and suddenly discovered a white piece of paper on the door. At night, it's as dark as pitch and there's a white piece of paper on the door that's really easy to spot. Using the dim light of the moonlight, we tried to read the handwriting on it. We only saw that the entire sheet of paper was filled with dark red characters, and we didn't know what it meant. We only understood the last line of words written with a brush and also in those dark red colors, urgently as military orders. Lutin felt confused. What is this? This is the talisman and above it are written spells. Well, it seems that Triule is truly knowledgeable, she understands everything. Why did the landlady put this on the front door? On the one hand, I opened the door and on the other hand, I thought to myself. After entering the house, Lutin locked the door, and we continued to discuss those spells. Perhaps the landlady's youngest son died in an unexpected accident, so the house owner thought that the house was. Is this not very good? So is it bad for us to rent this house again? No wonder the landlord is so good, doesn't need a lot of rent. It was just an unexpected accident. Aunt Dawn also lived in this house for many years, longer than us. You see, Aunt Dawn is fine. That's right. Old people in the countryside are often superstitious about these things. We don't have to doubt it anymore. We're tired today, everyone should go take a shower and go to sleep. The bathroom on the first floor is very spacious. Aunt Dawn was preparing the house for her youngest son to get married, so everything in the house was very complete, nothing was missing. She was tired all day, so when the hot water flowed down from head to toe, all four surfaces were filled with smoke. It felt so comfortable at that moment. In front of the sink there was a very large mirror. I looked into the mirror to wipe off the water on my body. Suddenly I discovered that the window behind me had an image of a person. The window is made of translucent lobed glass, and the position is very high, so when entering the bathroom, no one pays attention to it. Because it was frosted glass, I couldn't really see the person's face or figure clearly. It was only because of the bathroom's light that I could see the woman's face vaguely with long hair. Because the door is so small, you can only see from the chest up. And the window was located too high, so looking at the girl's figure, it didn't look like she was climbing up to take a look, she was just close to the glass window to look inside, standing there for a long time. This time I felt really scared. I really wanted to scream out loud, but when I opened my mouth, no sound could come out. I really wanted to run, but my legs didn't listen to orders, I just stood still and couldn't move. I could only stare at the woman standing there, without blinking. I felt my whole body motionless, the hot water drops on my body turned into deadly cold water drops running down my chest and spine. When the water ran out on my body, the cold sweat drops broke out into hives. Who exactly is this woman, or was it just an object? Because I was so scared my mind is now blank, I don't know anything anymore, I can only pay attention and not take my eyes off that figure, and that figure is smiling at me. Dun dun. The bathroom glass door was slammed loudly again. Try-you-duked in. What are you doing? Have you finished showering yet? Are you okay? Is the voice of Try-you-le. I also really wanted to scream out loud, but I don't know why I didn't. That figure seemed to also hear the noise and gradually disappeared, but it didn't go slowly down but instead flew slowly backwards, gradually disappearing in the darkness. I still stood there staring at that glass window without blinking. The door was pushed open, Lutin and Try-you-le rushed in at the same time, seeing me staring intently at the mirror. They all whined for a while. We all know you're beautiful, but there's no need for you to be so ashamed of yourself, right? Why did you take so long to look in the mirror? You kept knocking on the door but didn't answer. I thought something happened to you in here. What's going on? Why do you always make everyone worry like that? I had just recovered and saw them as if I had met relatives. I couldn't help but run to Try-you-le's eyes, screaming and crying. No, right, we didn't blame you enough to feel sorry for ourselves like that, did we? We were just joking. Try-you-le stroked my still wet hair. I just. We were wrong, we're not admiring ourselves, we're just taking a long bath, don't cry anymore. I just saw a ghost. After speaking, I hugged Try-you-le even tighter, my whole body trembling. For a while, they didn't say a word. Lutin suddenly burst out laughing. Aren't you looking in the mirror? Since when did Duke Tin become so humble? Ha, ha. Seeing everyone laugh like that made my tension feel much more relieved, and then I told you what I just encountered. Lutin didn't think so. Ha ha, you've done a lot for us this morning. Do you still want us to go to sleep without taking a shower? You can't scare us, we are not afraid of heaven, we are not afraid of earth, we are only afraid of ghosts. Try-you-le also laughed it off. No matter what I say, no one will believe me. There was no other way. Stepping out of the bathroom, I just gave Lutin a clever warning. You be careful, remember to pay attention to the small window up there, if anything happens, remember to call us immediately. Try-you-le just wanted to go back to the bedroom, but no matter what I said, I didn't want her to go. I just stood in front of the bathroom door so that when Lutin shouted, we could rush in to save her. Besides, there are more people and it's less scary. Not long after, Lutin finished showering and walked out. Seeing us standing outside, She was startled. "What are you two doing here? Since when do you have strange hobbies? Are you secretly peeking at someone else's bath?" Triule smiled and said, "Look, he's still normal. What's wrong? Stop joking, we're tired today, let's rest early." I quickly asked Lutin, "So did you see a shadow of a person in that window? I wake up early in the morning, and don't sleep early at night. I can't play with you anymore, I'm too sleepy, so you two just play slowly." I would have wanted Lutin to come with me to help Triule take a shower and then go upstairs together, but thinking about that, the words couldn't come out. They didn't believe what I just said anymore, so they remained silent. So Lutin and I went upstairs, to the door of my room. Lutin patted my butt and said, "Honey, enjoy your free life, each of you has a room. Tomorrow when I have the strength I'll come play with you. Remember, sleep well." Having finished speaking, he yawned, and returned to his room. Entering my room, the scene in the bathroom appeared in my mind again. Could it be that I saw wrongly? Maybe it's because I'm too tired today, but I still decided to go play in the backyard tomorrow, so I looked straight down to see the door. Standing on the playground, you can see the entire view of the grass hill. At first, it was because of this beautiful scenery that I chose this room. At night here, people really shiver when they see the whole mountain covered in pure black darkness. I still felt scared inside, not daring to look up for too long outside like that, quickly pulled the curtains and ran all the way to bed. Today was very tiring and I gradually fell asleep. Suddenly I woke up, hearing footsteps outside getting closer and closer. It got louder and louder, until it stopped in front of my room. I started to feel nervous again, looking at the door without blinking. Finally, the knock on the door rang. I tried to regain my composure, trembling and asking, "Who is it?" "It's me, are you sleeping yet?" It turned out to be Triule. I also forgot that she was still in the middle of bathing, just scaring myself. "I'm sleeping, it's okay. We'll talk more tomorrow, good night." "It's okay, I'm going to rest too, good night." As soon as she finished speaking, the sound of footsteps rang out again and faded away as she returned to the opposite room. My eyes were still not fully open when the bright light from outside made me wake up even if I didn't want to get up. Oh! The morning light is so beautiful, the light shines throughout the room. I really like sleeping until the sun reaches the top of the mountain. Stretch your shoulders and stand up, gradually crawling to the window to pull up the curtains. The weather today is so beautiful and you can see the scene of light covering the entire grassy hill. I opened the door and stepped out into the yard, took a few breaths. The green bamboo forest in front of me had strange birds flying around the forest. The small river under the stone bridge flowed smoothly, emitting the tearing sounds are so pleasing to the ear. This is truly a beautiful Sunday. Looking at such a beautiful scene, I suddenly remembered something. Finished dressing and quickly ran downstairs. Triule and Lutin are washing clothes downstairs. Why don't they sleep in today? Did you sleep well last night? They all looked at me and smiled. Yeah, I slept really well. Why did you guys get up so early today? Yesterday I forgot to close the curtains, so this morning the bright light hit my face so I couldn't sleep anymore. There's also the sound of roosters crowing outside. It's really nice to live in a place like this, like returning to village life. Oh right, don't close your door, we'll have to go to the yard to dry clothes later. Yeah, there's no lock, you guys just hang it out to dry. I quickly washed my face and nose because I was afraid I wouldn't have time to go out and walk around the house to solve the question in my heart. To see what that woman really is. The style of the house is built in the style of Anhui region in southern China. Behind this building is a thick solid wall. When I got around to the back of the building, I suddenly discovered that there was nothing behind this place, no trees, or bamboo, the wall was smooth, and the bathroom window was up high. Another is Lutin's bedroom window. Besides geckos, can they be climbed? So if yesterday's story wasn't a ghost, then what was it? I started to feel creepy again. Saddened by not finding an answer to what happened yesterday, I returned to the main gate of the house. Looking at the white amulet with the spells written on it made me feel even more terrified. Could it be? Is this house a haunted house? They saw me returning with a sad face and immediately asked, "Where did you go? You were fine just now, what happened now?" I didn't dare express my worries, I was afraid they would laugh and tease me. I just dared to say, "I'm fine, I suddenly don't feel well, it seems like it's due to a headache." "Then go to your room and rest. After a while, we'll finish blowing and we'll call you down to eat." When I got back to the room, I felt my head hurt even more. That's why I didn't want to watch anything, so I pulled down the curtain and went to sleep. A while later, Triule brought a bowl of hot rice to my room. "Is it any better?" She gently shook me awake and asked. "I'm so sorry, just call me down to eat. Why are you carrying it like that? If you're still not feeling well tomorrow, you won't have to go to class. The rice is really delicious, can you make it?" "Sorry, I'm a bit lazy today." "Yeah, well, just now Mr. Truong-chi and his wife brought us 2 kilos of meat, saying that the meat was just slaughtered this morning, so we immediately made braised meat. The meat is delicious and can be made into a delicious dish. This couple is really delicious. Kind. Let's bring some gifts over there in a few days." Hearing Triule mention Mr. Truong, I immediately thought that he was from this area, so he must know the events that happened here. Maybe I should go ask, but I just hope it's because I'm suspicious. From the moment I went to the back of the house to check until now, I felt like I was in a coma. My friends didn't come to bother me. Maybe I should go out and buy some things. From then on I lay in bed all day, sometimes awake and sometimes dreaming. Just when I was dreaming the most, I heard a noise. I immediately sat up straight, the rain pouring down. When does it rain? I was sleeping so soundly, why didn't I know anything? I don't know what time it is, it's already dark outside. Suddenly, a strong wind blew and blew the curtains open. I immediately walked down to look outside. At this moment, there was a thunderclap in the sky that tore through the night. For a split second, that bright thunderbolt appeared in the sky and a terrifying scene appeared. I kept screaming, I couldn't see that woman's legs, her long hair was still hanging down, I couldn't see everything clearly, I couldn't see that woman's legs, I just knew that she was flying outside in the rain and flying slowly towards me. The sound of thunder and lightning stopped and it returned to pitch black darkness. I was alone standing in the middle of the room screaming. Lu and Triule rushed inside. "What's wrong? What's going on?" My trembling hand pointed outside towards the window. "Ghosts, there are ghosts." Seeing me so panicked, they were also scared and gradually looked through the gap in the fluttering curtain. I jumped out of bed, hid behind my 2 friends and kept trembling as I looked towards the window as if I was afraid that a ghost was looking through the curtain. A long time later, it was still raining heavily outside. In the end, the most courageous person was still Lutin. He deliberately found a coat hanger and slowly pulled up the curtains. But outside there is nothing. Suddenly there was lightning again. I could still see that long-haired female ghost flying out there. I pointed straight outside, "Look, over there." But I only heard Lutin sigh, "Sister, we're about to be scared to death by you, you're the witch." I didn't understand anything. "What did you say?" Triule continued, "We were reading in the room just now, Suddenly we heard it was raining heavily outside, and then we realized that the laundry was still hanging out in the yard this morning. We were about to go up and take it down, and stood in front of it. I heard your screams from the door of your room. There are no ghosts. That was Lutin's white dress on the clothesline, and my wig. I watched them run out and take out their clothes, and I felt so embarrassed. Even so, when I saw Lutin holding the soaking wet dress, I still felt worried and backed away into the corner. Waiting until they finished cleaning and then entered the room and saw me standing there like an idiot, Lutin came closer and touched my forehead. "You're really scared. You just rented the house. I mean, why did you become like that? Let's sleep here today. It's raining and thundering outside. We can't leave him alone." Triule also came closer and stroked my hair. I felt so guilty. It's all my fault. Being suspicious made you guys not sleep well. Look what you're saying. We hope we can't sleep with this beauty anymore. Hee hee. Lutin frowned and joked. Let's go to sleep. We have class tomorrow. I don't know when the rain stopped. When we woke up, the sky had stopped. It was drizzling outside, and the hill in the distance was covered with clouds, making the forest appear even more mysterious. Maybe it's because I'm too suspicious that ghosts are born. I'm planning to move back to the dormitory this weekend, but I'm afraid they'll make fun of me, so I have to endure a few more days of living in fear. For the past few days, everything has been fine and nothing has happened, and the thought of moving back to the dormitory has gradually faded. Without realizing it was winter, we gradually got used to life on that grass hill. The end of the semester is coming. Just because we are worried about exams, we have to work hard every day until morning. The living environment here is really better than in the dormitory. Not long after the year-end exams ended, everyone was busy preparing everything to go home. Lutin and Triule had also bought bus tickets and were in the room packing their luggage. I'm the only one who's been idle all day, not having to prepare anything. They found it strange and asked me, "Triuductin, you don't intend to go home empty-handed, do you? Why don't you clean up your things?" "I won't go home for Tet this year, I'll just stay here to celebrate Tet. From here to Heilongjiang, it takes several thousand kilometers. It takes several days to ride the train. The atmosphere on the train is too stuffy and cramped. I'm afraid that before I get home, I'll go crazy. It's better to stay here, enjoy the whole day without having to do anything, because I want to live for a few days without having to think and do anything." "Well, it's up to you, because we already bought it anyway. The ticket is back, and day and night I just want to go home. You're alone here, take care." Early the next morning, two of my friends each set out with a bag and a backpack. It was almost time to leave. Triule took my hand. "Remember to take care of your health while you're at home." "Okay, don't scare yourself." Lutin also said a few words. "Don't sleep too late at night, but remember to lock the doors and windows tightly. Remember, yes? Okay guys. Don't worry, I know how to take care of myself." "Can you say what I just told you again?" Lutin smiled and said. It turns out Lutin is imitating Aunt Doan's voice. This guy. I really like to joke. I also laughed and joked, "I'll go to bed early, then lock the door, don't worry, Auntie Lou." Actually, the biggest reason I decided not to go home to celebrate Tet was because of money. There's not enough left to buy a bus ticket. If I ask my family, I'm afraid they'll say I spent too much money. If I borrow money from a classmate, I don't dare. Plus, the road is far away, so I'd rather not go back. I saw everyone off over this hill, thinking that the way back would have to go around the grass hill to get home. Having lived here for several months but never reaching the top of the grass hill, I went through the bamboo forest. The afternoon sunlight penetrates. The leaves appeared on the ground and, bright dots. There is no road up the mountain. It seems that not many people go up here. The soil on the mountain gets softer and softer the higher you go. Up close to the hill but never stood looking down from above. Even during the day, I still feel like this bamboo forest is very mysterious. It's best to stand here and look down, that's enough, I shouldn't go any further. Luckily this mountain was not high, so I quickly went down the mountain another way. Seeing my wet pants and shoes dripping down, I thought I shouldn't have come all the way up here. I felt really regretful. Going near the stream, I saw the shadow of Truong Chi washing clothes. Mr. Truong. During the few months we lived here, our relationship with Mr. Truong's family was very good. "What are you doing?" I raised my voice and asked. Truong Chi turned around, saw me coming and immediately smiled gently. "You try you, don't you have to go to school today? We're on winter break, we're free." "That's it, that's worth congratulating. You don't have anything here, only meat, haha. We often bother you and feel embarrassed. Since the winter break, we've all become a lot chubbier. Listen to me, I was afraid you wouldn't come and bother me." As soon as he finished speaking, Truong Chi ran home and took out a piece of meat and gave it to me. "Then I won't be polite anymore. Mr. Truong, this evening you and I will come over to your house to play. I'll make you dinner. It's almost New Year, so many people are ordering, so I'm a bit busy lately. Come next time I'll definitely have a chance to try your cooking skills." Yes. The new year is coming, so I wish you all a prosperous new year. Well, I'm busy, I'll go home too. Returning to the house, I stood in front of the all too familiar door. When opening the door, I accidentally looked up at the talisman filled with chanting words. The words above are also very blurred, not as clear as before. The amulet is really hateful, making me become more suspicious ever since I saw it. It could also be because I was influenced by the chants on this amulet, causing me to always have hallucinations. Or just tear it up and do whatever comes to mind. I tore the amulet into pieces. On the first day of my vacation, I felt empty without a job. I sat on the TV all afternoon, constantly changing from one channel to another, not knowing what I should do. Only when the feeling of hunger arose did I realize that it was dark outside. I just took the meat that Mr. Truong gave me in the afternoon and made a few dishes because there was nothing else to do. Unfortunately, when cutting the meat, I didn't notice there was a small bone inside, causing the knife to slide across and cut right into my hand. Blood flowed like crazy. At that time I didn't know what was happening, I only knew that the blood was flowing a lot and now I felt pain. The first day of the vacation to have blood flowing like this is really unlucky. I immediately ran into the bathroom and turned on the faucet to thoroughly wash off the blood. The more the water flowed, the more painful the pain in the wound became. Blood and water mixed together to form a small vortex in the sink. I took out white medicine from the medicine cabinet and sprinkled it haphazardly on the wound. The bleeding stopped, but the wound throbbed in pain. At this time, I felt confused and no longer interested in cooking rice. Returning to the kitchen, blood was scattered on the meat along with the cutting board. Frustrated, I threw the meat in the trash and went looking for a bunch of snacks to watch and eat, but I was still angry while watching. At night, it was quiet outside, the sky was clear, the crescent moon hung high in the sky. The breeze blew past, the bamboo forest ahead rustled in waves with the breeze. There was only a small, lonely house standing in the middle of a large area with a weak flickering TV light. There was only one person in the house and I didn't know how long I had been watching TV. The feeling of sleepiness began to creep in. Before the TV was so loud, I almost didn't know anything. At this moment, suddenly there was a gurgling sound of running water in my ear. The sound of running water became clearer and clearer. In the quiet of the night, it is easy to hear any sound, even the slightest sound of running water. I woke up soon after, hearing the sound of small running water. I woke up right after that, heard where the sound of water was coming from. It turned out to be coming from the bathroom. This whole day has been risky, it's this late and the faucet is broken. Just as I was about to get up to watch TV, I heard a click. The sound seemed to be the sound of a switch being turned on, and there was a stream of light escaping from the bottom of the bathroom. "Who?" I shouted. But after a while, the bathroom remained quiet with no other noises other than the sound of running water. Could there be someone inside? Wouldn't it be bad to go to the bathroom at the same time? I walked step by step gingerly to the kitchen, conveniently grabbed the knife from the chopping board, held the knife tightly in both hands, raised it in front of my chest. Under the dim light, the blood stains on the knife now turned purple-black. I gently walked to the bathroom door, my heart pounding non-stop. Mustering all his courage, holding the knife with his right hand, his left hand opened the bathroom door. There was nothing in the room. I looked around every corner, except for the light shining in the room along with the broken faucet with gurgling water flowing down. Suddenly a scary scene flashed in a clear way. I turned my head to look back at the window high up there, but it seemed like there was nothing. Looking closely again, there was nothing but black curtain covering the glass. Maybe I scared myself again today. I sighed in relief, prepared to close the faucet and go back upstairs to sleep, when suddenly, as my hand lightly touched the faucet, I made the click sound of a drop of blood dripping onto the sink bar. I just checked everything but except not looking at the ceiling. Why is there something bleeding down on the ceiling? I slowly raised my head to see. The white ceiling had no dirt at all. What happened now was not a hallucination. I was so scared that the hair on my neck stood up. When I bent down to look in the mirror, I saw something in the high window. It was her, a nightmare. Mine appeared again. The ghost girl gradually appeared more clearly. I could even see those black eyes, and a strand of hair flew in from the outside. The knife I was holding firmly in my hand fell to the ground for some reason. The sound of a falling knife startled me. I turned around and ran as fast as I could. As soon as I ran out of the room, I saw her sitting on the sofa watching TV. His whole body was white, his long black hair covered his chest. He bowed his head and did not speak. The light from the TV shining on her body flickered, making the ghost girl appear strangely. Just as I wanted to run to the door to get out of the house, I saw white shadows wandering in the garden, groups of 5 or 3 souls walking back and forth in terror. I turned around and ran to the second floor. The female ghost sitting in front of the TV still sat there with her head bowed. Just reaching the second floor, at the end of the hallway, a ghost stood at the door of Lutin's room. Although there was no light upstairs and it was covered in black, the soul emitted a dim blue light, so it could still be seen clearly. I immediately ran straight into my room, opened the door and ran out into the yard. "Save me!" My scream for help echoed in the bamboo forest. My cry for help also seemed to have alarmed the other ghosts. The ghosts in the garden seemed to have heard the cry and immediately gathered together, looking up at me standing in the courtyard, unable to see my face clearly. That ghost's nose. When I was about to return to the room, the ghost emitting a scary light at the end of the hallway appeared right in front of the courtyard door. At this moment I felt like my heart was about to explode because I didn't know what these ghosts would do to me. Those blue lights gradually approached me. I could see the AOD fluttering in the wind. I could still hear the sound of the blouses hitting each other in my ears. At this moment, I couldn't feel my legs anymore. I couldn't stand firmly, so I sat down. My legs were weak and I couldn't feel them. I closed my eyes tightly, just waiting for death to come and take me away. My only regret is that when I first knew there was something wrong with this house, why didn't I move out? I also regret why I stayed alone in this house during the Tet holiday. At this moment, many ideas flashed through my mind, but after a while, I felt like there was no death at all. So what is that ghost doing? Where will they take me? I mustered all the courage to open my eyes. In front of me is only a quiet night, the sky is full of stars, in my ears now I can only hear the gurgling sound of the stream. In the sky I am the only one sitting here alone, beside me the flickering light of the stars. Firefly. What happened? I immediately stood up, looked down at the garden, there was nothing but the emptiness of the night. Perhaps I was dreaming. Suddenly a light appeared from behind me, I quickly turned around. Stepping out of my room with a muscular figure, it was Mr. Truong Chi. My whole body felt hot, I didn't know why tears kept flowing. Mr. Truong. Mr. Truong came close to me, I hugged his hand tightly. Don't be afraid, you try you, those dirty things have been chased away by me. Come to my house. At this moment, I didn't know what to say to Truong Chi. I could only hug his arm tightly and go downstairs with him. Truong wanted to go to the bathroom to turn off the light, but I didn't dare to take another step, nor did I dare to take another step. Let go of my hand. It's okay now, it's nothing. Mr. Truong said softly, the bathroom faucet was still running. I looked up at the window but there was nothing but the light shining into the bathroom. At this moment, I felt a shiver and quickly looked away. Out of that place. Mr. Truong turned off all the lights, locked the door, and led me out of that haunted house. Mr. Truong's wife was standing in front of the house waiting. When she saw us approaching, she opened the door and helped me inside. Mr. Truong poured a cup of hot water and brought it close to me. We had just fallen asleep when we heard someone calling for help. So what happened? The lady asked me gently with concern. Mr. Truong, who was next to him, also contributed, they were dirty things. When I ran to the place and saw those things flying in the garden, after seeing me, those things disappeared like smoke. I blamed you for being like this, but those things haven't appeared for a long time. Why did they appear today? Isn't Aunt Doan's house covered with charms? Amulet. Hearing Mr. Truong's wife mention that amulet, I suddenly remembered that the amulet posted on the door had just been torn off by me today. I regained my composure and quickly asked my brothers and sisters, "Sister, what are those things and what about the talisman on the door?" Truong Chi slowly looked out the window. When I was a child, I also saw those dirty things. I heard that those things appeared in our village a long time ago. My grandfather also saw those dirty things when he was a child. These things, but they don't harm anyone, they just want to scare people. In the middle of the night, they throw bricks on the roofs of people's houses, often making people's families live in peace. Later there was a monk. Master, I heard it was about exorcising demons. He wrote 2 talismans for each house, one was to be burned behind the house at midnight, the other was to be stuck on the door. The master's talisman was truly effective. After that, every family followed the words of the Taoist priest to go to work. From then on they rarely saw those things anymore. Everyone in this village knows this, but in normal times they avoid talking about it. "So where did you see them?" I immediately asked. "When I was little, I often went to the mountains to play. I met you there a few times, but since I was little, I've been bolder, not like you are calling for help now, haha. Brother Chi, look at you, people being threatened like this, you're right next to me saying such teasing things." Mr. Truongkai's wife hit him. After hearing Truongkai's words, I really regretted tearing the talisman pasted on the door. Suddenly, more doubts appeared in my mind. I quickly asked Truong Chi, "Mr. Truong, on the roof of the house, why don't you apply the charm?" Truong Chi looked very proud. "I killed too many people, isn't there a saying, should ghosts also be afraid of evil people? Those things can't even see you running away in time. How dare you come into your house and do it, cause chaos? Your house doesn't need to post those things." At this moment, Truong Chi made an even more majestic impression on me, like the Dharma protector Vajra in a temple. But I was a little afraid when I said these words to Truongkai's wife. "Sister-in-law, there's no one left now, I don't dare to be alone, can I stay at your house for a few days?" "Of course it's okay, it's just that our house is a bit messy," Truongkai's wife quickly said. "Brother Chi, maybe you should temporarily stay at Aunt Don's house these past few days. You have as much courage as the sky." Yeah, I also want to see what those things look like." After the discussion was over, from today I started staying at Truongkai's house. Like Truong Chi said, he stayed at Aunt Don's house for a few days safely and nothing happened. Aunt Don's house and Truongkai's house are both located at the end of the village, so there are many neighbors here. A few days later, Truongkai's wife got 2 talismans in the village, came at night to burn one, and stuck the other to Aunt Don's house, but I still didn't dare to return to live alone, every day. After Truong Chi was busy with work, he went to Aunt Don's house to sleep. In the blink of an eye, preparations for Tet are here, and Truong Chi and his wife's business is getting better and better. Every day he went to the west of the hill to slaughter pigs at the factory there, then returned home to wash them and sell them at the market. One evening, Truong Chi returned home with a cheerful face. His wife asked, "What's so fun today looking at you? I'm so happy that I can't close my mouth anymore. Today I bought a pig but only spent very little money. Haha, I'll go early tomorrow morning to have it slaughtered." "Why is it so cheap?" "It's not because someone else stole it and sold it to you, right? There's no way. That pig is sick and about to die. If you don't kill it early tomorrow, you won't be able to survive until the afternoon." "Huh, it's a sick pig. Mr. Chi, how can you buy this kind of pig? What if someone buys it and gets poisoned? How can it be so easy to get food poisoning?" "It's okay, it's still alive right now. This Mr. Truong doesn't look like he's someone who also likes cheap things, so I have to advise him." Truong Chi saw me coming out of the room, smiled at me, and was about to continue talking to his wife about the sick pig when I interrupted him. "Mr. Truong, I don't want to eavesdrop on your conversation. Just now you talked about the sick pig, I don't think it's very good. Why do you even say that? Mr. Truong, if you sell that sick pig, you can make a lot of profit, but if someone eats the meat you sell and gets poisoned, can you feel secure? Or if that problem arises, they will chase you away. Come to my house, I'm afraid that by then I'll lose everything." After I said that, Truong Chi hesitated a bit. His wife also followed me. "That's right, Mr. Chi, we should think about accumulating virtue for ourselves. How could we do such an unethical thing? You're really..." With a cheerful face. When entering Mr. Truong's house, he gradually disappeared. After thinking for a long time, I thought Mr. Truong was probably thinking about losing money. Finally, Mr. Truong said with a gloomy face, "You're right, today I'm at a loss, I'll take that pig away to deal with it later." It seems that although Mr. Truong appears rude and clumsy, he is not a person who does not understand morality. I laughed. "So what are you going to do to that sick pig? Let me give you a hand." "Bury it, because no one usually comes to the back of the mountain anyway. Dig a big hole there, then there won't be any problem. I'll deal with it myself, don't bother." "Where are you? I'm at your house and bother you a lot. Why are you speaking so politely? Besides, you also need help. Now that it's this dark, how can you dig a hole alone?" Truong Chi scratched his head and said, "Okay, then I can help you hold the lamp, haha." Truong Chi took an oil lamp from the house and gave it to me. "It seems that this lamp is too old. How come people still use antiques like this?" Mr. Truong and his wife live frugally. Holding the lamp, walking next to Truong Chi, after walking for a while, he arrived at his pig slaughterhouse. I had to try to hold my breath in this unpleasant smell, waiting for Mr. Truong to bring the pig out here. That sick pig was so weak that it couldn't walk anymore. Fortunately, Mr. Truong Chi, if someone else pulled it, he probably wouldn't have been able to pull it. At night on the grassy hill, fireflies are especially numerous. The light of the lamp illuminates both sides of the bamboo forest, making them look vaguely as if someone was following them. If it weren't for Truong Chi walking behind, I would have screamed long ago. Go step by step on the soft ground, go a little to the middle of the mountain, where there is a very wide gap. Truong Chi decided to bury the sick pig alive here. Although I find it a bit cruel, it's okay to do so. Truong Chi used a shovel to dig. I didn't dare look at the buried pig, but I also didn't dare go too far. I hung an oil lamp on a nearby tree branch and watched from afar. The soil on the mountain seems very soft and spongy, but once you start digging for a while, it feels too hard. Truong Chi muttered angrily, "Why is the ground so hard and difficult to dig?" Fortunately, Truong Chi had strength, so not long after, he saw Truong Chi with only his head sticking out. I called, "Mr. Truong, that's okay." When Truong Chi was about to get out of that pile of dirt, I saw the oil lamp's light alternately lit and dimmed, sometimes burning green. I feel worried and don't know what will happen next. Truong Chi also felt that something unusual was happening. He jumped up and got out of the hole. He reached out and took the oil lamp out of the tree branch to see. At that moment, when his hand just touched the lamp, it suddenly turned off. The surrounding was pitch black, with only fireflies flying around emitting flickering rays of light. I shouted, "Mr. Truong, where are you?" "It's okay, let me see, this old oil lamp is going crazy again. I just added oil today, but why did it burn a little and then go out?" Hearing Mr. Truong's voice is like taking a sedative. My anxiety and stress are now gradually disappearing. In the distance, the light just flashed, swoosh, and it was definitely because Truong Chi was using a lighter to light the light. Just as Truong Chi turned on the lighter, at that moment, the fire seemed to escape from his hand and fly up, followed by a fire that flared up in the hole he had just dug. The fire flared up very high, making the entire bamboo forest area shine brightly. Truong Chi's clothes were also burned by fire, burned in several places. He was confused and panicked to put out the fire when suddenly from the bamboo forest, flickering green fireflies appeared, approaching, illuminating Truong Chi's body. Suddenly Truong Chi ran to where I was standing, because he was so scared that Truong's face would change. At this time, I was as upright as a wooden statue. Truong Chi ran to me, grabbed my hand, and ran straight down the mountain. I feel like the blue flames behind me are still dancing strangely. We ran straight home. Mr. Truong's wife was also scared and didn't know what to do. What happened on the mountain? What is that blue light? Truong Chi didn't say a word. As soon as he entered the house, he collapsed to the ground. Only then did I clearly see that Mr. Truong's eyebrows were also burned black, and his clothes were torn in many places. It took a lot of strength for us to carry Mr. Truong onto the bed. Truong Chi was unconscious. His wife was fumbling with her hands and feet, so I immediately said, "Sister-in-law, is there a doctor nearby? Hurry up and the doctor will be here." Truong Kai's wife seemed to have just woken up, frantically running to call the doctor. I looked through the window and still saw those dim blue lights. The forest became more terrifying. Truong Chi fell ill. According to the doctor, he was sick because he was too scared and needed to rest. Mr. Truong's wife thought he was possessed by evil spirits, so she ran to the village to get some cardboard to post at home. The appearance of ghosts on the mountain spread throughout the village. The incident was miraculously transmitted. Right after that, Aunt Doan came back here to visit me. She kept reciting the spirit and asked me to keep this matter a secret. Thinking nothing big would happen, she returned me the entire rent. But I also comforted her with a few words. The new year was almost here. On the 30th, the grass hill suddenly became bustling. Many workers arrived. Mr. Truong's family also had several officials visit and want to find out what happened the night before. Hearing their introduction from the provincial museum, I presented again. After hearing the story, they seemed very happy because on the grassy hill there was the tomb of a Western Han royal family, according to historical records. If what they say is correct, this place will become a land where very valuable relics appear. Because of the fire at the grave site, in the language of archaeologists, this is called the place of death. Explain that this tomb is very secret. No one has come here to dig for thousands of years. This is considered a great discovery. On the second day, they started digging. Because I witnessed it all, I had the honor of coming to see them dig. Many employees held small shovels so as not to affect the lower part, then they put an amount of explosives in there. After a while of measuring and searching, we discovered the way to the tomb. In recent days, the tomb has been meticulously dug up. Inside the tomb is divided into many layers. In the middle there are rare bamboo tubes, and some are very old. The more you dig inside, the more soft and light objects appear. When we dug to the last floor, we only saw skeletons lying in different positions. In the middle were many logs as big as the mouth of a large bowl, neatly arranged perpendicularly like a house. Seeing these objects, archaeologists laughed. Among them, someone told me that this is called the Imperial Palace. Just seeing this is enough to clearly say that the owner of this tomb is not from the royal family, or at least a royal family with a different family name. According to the Han Dynasty's burial custom, when burying a royal family, not only must there be a coffin inside and out, but the outside must use premium yellow ironwood to make this royal palace coffin, to show respect. Precious. Hearing that, I thought that in addition to this prince, there were also his concubines buried alive with the prince. Speaking of this, an old man even lamented that the funeral customs of the past were cruel and that these young women died so unjustly. The discovery of an ancient tomb was even more shocking than the appearance of a ghost. It was spread from one end of the village to the next. Everyone was talking about it. Truong Chi also quickly regained his health. People in the village were talking loudly. No wonder we always see dirty things here. It turns out these ghosts have their own reasons. After the royal family's tomb was cleaned, every house that had the gut store off the talisman pasted on the door. People in neighboring villages, after a while of listening and seeing that everything was fine, also followed suit. Having to go to school again, Lutin and Triule, after hearing my story, both thought this incident was miraculous. Lutin expressed regret for not being present at the scene, otherwise he would have been able to attend a part of this exciting story. Later, we still lived in that house, but in my heart I felt much more at peace. It was still the same here, the scenery was still quiet, but now we only saw the cool green water without the bamboo trees anymore. At this point, everyone could not help but sigh in relief again. Triuduktin felt that there were too few listeners, making the story lose its appeal. Because after all day long, Hatudin also comforted me, if the other two people can't hear a story like this, it's their loss. The story is very good, there are many places where I heard it. I still feel shivers, I'm completely scared. Next week, no one is allowed to tell, then I will tell a story that will scare you to death. Okay, from now on, I will perk up my ears and listen to your stories every day. Truunkiat said jokingly. Thatch Enum suddenly asked Triuduktin, Duktin, do you have any performances next week? Hatudin winked at Thatch Enum and asked, Thatch Enum, what do you want to do if you want to go on a date? Then why don't you go on a date every day? Why do you have to aim for the day of the storytelling event? Are you deliberately causing trouble? No, it's not like that. Thatch Enum tried to explain, I just found it strange that after they told my story, they didn't come to listen anymore, so I was afraid that Duktin wouldn't come next week, so I just wanted to ask first. In my dreams, I also wanted to date Duktin, haha. Triuduktin's cheeks turned red, in these past few weeks, I have not been absent once. Gathering like this is a big deal to me. Even thunder and lightning can't change it. Because this gathering is really exciting, it will definitely come next week. Truunkiat also said, that's right, I seem to have been caught up in this festival, I'm really too high. So I decided to come to my house next week, if I don't see you I won't go home. It's not early anymore. I have to go back to sleep. After a while of discussion, everyone went back to their rooms to rest. Triuduktin, because he was on the same floor as Thatch Enum, stayed there to talk for a while. Not long after, they said goodbye and left. The warm breezes that filled the room were the breezes of spring. As soon as he got into the warm blanket, Triuduktin fell into a deep sleep. What you think during the day is what you dream at night. Triuduktin wasted a lot of effort in fabricating this story, so in her dream she also found herself at the scene of the tomb. Everywhere on the ground were the skeletons of maids, the shape of each skeleton was still clutching a soft, shiny piece of jade in its hand, while admiring the jade, suddenly a group of people appeared above its head. Dark cloud. Looking up, a large stone slab covered everything, the surroundings were pitch black. Triuduktin screamed, using his hands to fox the surrounding sand. But all efforts were meaningless, the fingers seemed to fall apart, blood and sand were forgotten together. Triuduktin screamed loudly and woke up from the nightmare. She looked towards the window, the dawn gradually brightened, she scratched her head and suddenly saw that her right hand was still holding an item. She looked at the object, her whole body seemed to have fallen into a deep well. Suddenly the snow was white, as beautiful as a piece of shiny jade. End of chapter 4, see you again in the next chapter.
Thank you for taking the time to watch Ghost Stories video. Hopefully the content has brought you interesting and meaningful moments. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to the Ghost Stories YouTube channel to follow the channel's next videos. See you in the next video. Have a good day.